I think there's a line between authenticity and trying something new and taking a little bit of a risk. And I think you can do both. And so I think to your point, it's like, yes, if you tried rocking the Crocs in the socks or the Tevas in the socks, you wouldn't believe it.
No.
You wouldn't believe yourself when you put that on. So I would say, your audience, as you walk through where, Trader Joe's, they might not believe it either. So for the guy who is 47 and is pulling it off, there's a reason other people believe it. Is because that's just who he is. But if that's not who you are, you know it when you put it on, like, so if you have to ask, like, hey, should I wear this? The answer is probably no.
Welcome to the Attorneys on Accident podcast with your host, Joe Worth.
And Ash Blackburn.
We are here with our guest, Sean Blanchard. He is the owner and founder of the Good Wolf Lifestyle Company.
Yes, sir.
And you run that with your wife, Lisa.
Yes.
And you came to Las Vegas when?
So we moved to Las Vegas in the fall of 2010.
Okay, fall of 2010. And was this the dream? Did you fall into this?
Oh, it was on accident. I got to say, I think like most people, it was going to be, it was a little taste of something different. It was living in a different time zone. That's intriguing. I do think the Pacific time zone is the best time zone, right? But so that was a big part of it. And I was 24 years old, 24 years old, and you just want a little taste of something else, like, of course the lights, and you just wanted to, coming from Texas, although Texas is, it's a great place to.
A lot of people go to Texas, like, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Move to Texas to get what you kind of miss in Vegas, right? So I always thought it was interesting that you guys came from Texas.
And people who live in Texas, leave knowing that they'll be back in Texas. It's only a matter of time. So that was my thought, when Lisa got her promotion to come up here. And I tagged along. I thought, well, she's not going to like Vegas, but I'll try it out. I'll go with, and we'll be back in Texas in no time. But let's just get a little closer to California. That'd be fun. I love the entertainment aspect of it. I've been fascinated with show business and stuff like that too. And then 15 years later, after, a couple, I guess one stint in Texas for work, ended up back here. So all in all, about 13 years here in Vegas.
Did you know there was such a massive market gap, like such a just cesspool and like nothing here in Vegas for what you do in terms of, well, describe what your store is so people know.
Yeah. Okay. So the Good Wolf Lifestyle Company, it's a, to put it simply, it's a lifestyle shop, which means it's every category. Basically, to be cheesy, it's a one-stop shop. I came from a fashion apparel merchandising background along with Lisa, and but it was really a hospitality company.
So you blended the two.
Yeah, and so that's what we did. Like we just really emphasized the hospitality part of it. And especially in a neighborhood where. It just left a lot to be desired in terms of what, I guess elevated shopping could be for guys and gals.
Right. Home goods, books,
right.
Clothes, trinkets, shoes,
some vintage, but mainly new stuff.
Right.
Tchotchkes.
Yeah, sure.
I love
stationery. Let's use stationery. Okay. But to answer your question, yeah, we knew what Vegas was, but we also there was a very wide gap between your run of the mill shops,
right?
That would be like in your shopping centers with the Ultas and
cookie cutter,
famous footwear.
Yeah, because
then you have luxury, but I think there's like
a fashion show.
A fashion show, yep, and but I grew up in a surf town. We're going to a little surf town, and I shop mom and pop basically my whole life.
So there's some like core memories that come from that.
Oh yeah, gosh, it's just it's just being a part of something. It's just like being able to call it yours when you go back to school. Like if you're a middle school or high school and you get a couple new graphic tees or a couple hats, it's like,
and it's different than what everybody else has.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that was I always got a lot of joy out of shopping independence.
It's my favorite part of a seaside town. I love a seaside town, but like going to their little downtown area and there's just a bunch of people that have lived there.
About that we crave, that we need as species, where it's like, it's fine that you get the convenience and you go to a Lululemon or something and you know what you're going to get. But what blew me away when my wife found your store, because where are you? So people know you're.
Yeah.
It matters where you are in Vegas.
The arts district of Las Vegas. So we're talking, so just north of the Stratosphere, just south of Charleston. We're on Commerce Street.
Yeah.
Commerce and Imperial. Now it's become like a really fun mix of retail and bars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Susie found us.
My wife she's going to find the cool vintage shops and the boutique shops, right? Because she wants her style to be her own, right? And that's something that you guys offer. But it would have been a different story if you'd gone to downtown Summerlin or off Eastern in Henderson, right? Mm-hmm. Did you know what you were doing when you chose to go to the arts district, because that was on brand with you guys and your personality and what you wanted to bring to Las Vegas? Or
yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. I think we just knew. I mean, we didn't know where it would take us or how long it would. It's been 6 years this past October, and for me to say that going into it, I thought we needed to have one more element aside from shopping soft goods,
right?
Because I guess that was just intimidating. So like that's always been on our mind, but we did notice an opening that people were eager to shop something that wasn't in a downtown Summerlin, that wasn't in a fashion show or having to go to a casino. It wasn't a matter of practicality. I just think it was a matter of uniqueness.
Right.
It's just being able to shop a one of a kind thing.
I think people like that it's art, right? I mean, you guys are collecting all of this stuff because you like it and it speaks to your lifestyle. And so, as you kind of go through those stores, like the seaside towns that I was talking about, but what we need more of in downtown Las Vegas too, is just that you're able to like enter somebody's home almost of things that they have found joy in and kind of, have a different experience in every single store.
Right. Yeah. I mean, taste is something you earn. Style is something that you develop. And you and Lisa, and don't get nervous, I'm going to make you, I'm going to compliment you a lot because you're out this podcast, but you and Lisa, you do have style. You've curated this taste, and then it's like, kind of like the reason we want to be around celebrities or watch them on talk shows is like, you kind of want to just be part of the conversation. It's like, I feel that way when I come into your store. Like I feel a little cooler. Like I bought this jacket, but I would never have kind of, he's funny. I'll go in there and he'll throw stuff on me and he'll be like, you can do that. And I'm like, no, I can't. You got this. And I'm like, I'm 47.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah. I'm like, I need to look age appropriate. And then he's like, you know what? You're right. Let's go. But he'll work with me to just push me a little bit. And then I'm kind of coming along and creating my own style and taste, which is what I love. And you don't get that if you don't have it, owner, founder, run, and they're there in the store. Because most of the time I go there, you guys are there, right?
Yeah.
You and Lisa?
So. And, we have a small but mighty team who probably do the job better than we do. Like the essence of what it is to style someone and introduce product in a very authentic way, when it makes sense. And I think that's, I don't know if you asked this, but I do think that's what people are eager for too, that you might not get, because you said it's different than going to like a shop in the burbs, because I think, and it could be that though, like to be honest, like it could be a place where you might go into an Old Navy, but if you have the person who really cares about what they're doing, you'll go back and see them.
Harder to find though.
Harder to find, yes, but I think that's the difference between going there and coming to the Good Wolf is you get people who, were curious.
Yeah. I was having a day downtown when I first went into your store.
Okay.
Did the whole Esther's brunch, original location. Yeah. Many years ago. So I was doing, the downtown thing. And what brought me into your store was the name. I'm obsessed with foxes and wolves and just their general semblance. But what is the Good Wolf Lifestyle Company? Why did you name it that?
So the Good Wolf comes from an old Native American tale that we've probably heard told differently in movies, songs, what have you. It's probably, biblical also. But it's the tale of two wolves, and it's about a battle that's going on inside of each and every human between a good wolf and a bad wolf. The good wolf represents all positive feelings, encouragement and empathy, benevolence. The bad wolf being the negative ones, so like jealousy, envy, the opposite feelings. And so I think they're both equally matched. It's just a choice. I think it's a choice.
Do you think we each have? Well, I mean, we all have both. Clearly,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea. So the story goes, Native American chief or grandpa was telling his grandson about the battle that's going on in each and every human. The grandson then asked which wolf wins,
Right.
and the granddad says, well, the one you feed. So they're both in you, and you might even, it's the yin and yang, philosophy. It's like you might even need them both, but it's the one that it's the light that everyone sees around you. That's the one that you're feeding.
Yeah, the world just reflects back whatever you put out, right? It's just a mirror.
Why was it important to name your business after that?
I think we want everyone to ask that question, so then we get a chance to explain it. We have a mural in a couple different spots, and then we have it framed as you walk into the store. I'm sure you guys have seen it before. But then, so we get a chance to share it. We get to talk about it, and it's a reminder for us to keep doing it. Because it's not something. It's not like you can reach a goal. It's just something that you have to. It's a daily reminder, and some days it's easier than others. And then some days like the bad wolf's gonna win.
Yeah.
But you can always make a change. Whether it's throughout the day, but I do think the chance to talk about it, whether a guest comes in and they get to experience a store, experience product, we'll do our best to give them reason to come back. But if they can leave with that, I think that's a memory. That is just an experience that they'll hold on to.
And we need that daily reminder, right? We were talking before we started that it's not like you just do it for a week or a month, right? This is for you need those. So I love that it's injected into everything that you do. That you chose that deliberately, almost like some accountability. Like you're gonna have to tell that over and over and remind yourself, which wolf am I feeding, right?
Yeah. And so initially I thought it was we were trying to be really creative and like.
Were you thinking like games, like Sean and Lisa's like clothing shack, like something? I would have gone with that.
Clothing shack.
You might have.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know what we were leaning towards. Like we had so many you see those boutiques that are like this and that,
or the plus sign,
plus, and I'm like, hey, so like we kind of found ourselves swimming in that pool too. Like, okay. And then the Good Wolf, I would always read with our team or with my team in a past life. Anytime we hired somebody, that was always part of our training. Every single, and like if I felt like we needed to revisit it, through before a busy season, we would. And Lisa's idea to name it the Good Wolf. I thought it was a bit too on the nose. I thought maybe it was a little bit too.
Wow.
I don't know, something.
Too cool.
It felt maybe even maybe a little bit personal or something like that. But I love it because I love the idea of a mascot too. I mean, wolves and foxes are awesome.
Great.
Yeah, they are both great. But
so why clothing? What brought you in this direction? Like in your past, what led you down this path of we're gonna open a clothing and tchotchke
Because it doesn't
store?
sound like the easiest way to make a living.
No.
no.
Not as hard as a restaurant, but certainly like I look at that. You got to get the product. You got to move it. I'm shocked more people don't know about you. Like I tell a lot of my friends when they complain that there's nothing like this, I'm like, no, we do have something in Las Vegas that's called the Good Wolf. And they go, really? And I think it's just because it's not in Summerlin that people don't know about it, right? So when you set out to do this, like Ash just asked, were you aware how tough it was going to be, or maybe has it not been that tough?
You know what? I think there are elements that are tough. There are elements that are easy. Like, I think the tough part is the mental part, just doing it again and again and again like that, I think and also there's no safety net,
Right.
Of course, as you guys know, I mean, like, it's just, you're just doing it. No one asked you to do it. It's possible that no one would care, like no one.
That's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Does anybody care?
I remember asking this, or I was saying that same thing to like in the early days, and I said, the toughest part about this is like just trying to figure out if anyone cares or not.
It's a horrible feeling.
When we were alone on the corner of Imperial and Commerce, and luckily we've had some amazing guests, and people that really have shown like, hey, like we do have a job, like, so we do have a boss, and that's our guest, to make sure like, hey, the experience is good, the product's good. And again, even if no one leaves with a shopping bag, it's like, okay, do they have a reason to come back?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I'm coming back to your question.
Yeah.
Which is, you know what? No, I mean, so I mentioned like how I was growing up. I was always obsessed with entertainment and movies, music. Go into music's a big part of it, but no, just like the movies, like like spectacles.
Okay.
And I always felt like once I started to like do things on the sales floor and with the team, there was a big performative element to it.
I'm glad you said that. Okay,
You know?
I wanted to ask you about that, and that's something you do different. I think better than most business owners is you've really integrated the community into your success, but not in a, hey, here's a 2-for-1 special, or going out of business. Just kidding, we're going to be here forever. Like kind of bait and switch.
Right.
Talk about the things that you've done, some of the fun things that you've done, because I know my wife and I got a flyer and she's like, you're not going to that. And I'm like, I can go alone, but it was like a burlesque naked dancer lady. And I was like, it sounds like we need to help Sean out. We got to help him out.
For the community, guys. Yeah.
For the community.
Charity.
Community.
That's
Sexy.
Art. It's just art.
But you guys made it.
We made it, and my wife got educated.
She was educated. She had a good time.
Sean's like, we're in Las Vegas. Come on.
It's just part of, it just comes with the territory.
But it's actually for charity, right?
Sorry?
It was for charity though, right?
Yeah, so this was a burlesque event with some of the folks who are heavily involved in that scene, which of course it's huge in Las Vegas, as we know. And so that was for a charity with or benefiting mental health. Victoria Jade, if you guys know Victoria Jade, she's big time in that burlesque community. You sure you don't know?
I don't.
but if you look her up,
It's a secret hobby.
she's awesome, and she had just gotten her start before she allowed us to help host, and she had done with a few other gals and guys. We had hosted a couple or a few burlesque events, and everything that we made from it we gave back. To the charity. And then we've done other fun things, like we've hosted little markets back in in the past, in the early days. And one of my favorites is called Standing Room Only. So it's a little, if I'm sure you guys are familiar with NPR's Tiny Desk concert.
Love it. Yes.
Inspired by Tiny Desk, but we love to have it in the good wolf where things get a little tight and uncomfortable with a nice crowd. We're talking like 25 people, 30 people. But yeah, we'll invite local musicians to pop in and play.
I love that.
We've had skincare events. Lisa put on this amazing tea party. This was last year, which is so she decked the whole place out. It felt like Alice in Wonderland. This was right. It was on Mother's Day, or I'm sorry, it was a week before Mother's Day, but it was celebrating moms. And so we just tried to do things that are just a little bit weird, and we just try to surprise people.
Well, I was going to ask you, what surprised you about doing that? Like getting involved with the community, doing fun events. Like, what is something where when you went into it, you're like, I never would have thought this.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, we've been very, very fortunate to have people return and come back, and they're just curious. I never would have thought people would ask the question like, "Hey, what are you doing next?"
They want to know what your next event.
They just want to know what it is, and so that's like the biggest tip of the cap, But it's not so much about the said event. I think it's more about the people, and Lisa and I aside, we have a fun team who just do a great job. Jolene being the one who really runs the ship, and she is so good about making sure everybody gets to hear about new product and things like that too. So, I mean, she's so valuable. But it just tells me like the product itself is not the product itself. The product is the people, just the feeling everyone gets when they come in, and so that's hard to quantify, but it is and it isn't, so there are some things that we can do and need to keep doing just to make sure people are, like they feel that way when they come into the store. You want them to feel like as if they were invited or like sent in, so.
Break this down for me technical wise, because like I said, I'm in my little seaside towns and I'm always like, I would love to do this, like retirement plans, right? What actually goes into running a lifestyle store like that?
Yeah, I would say Man, a few things, but I would start with the product, just kind of knowing who you are and knowing who you aren't, so.
How do you find the product? What are you guys looking for? How are you sourcing that?
Yeah, so it's, trade shows make it really easy to go and spend a couple days and just, walk up and down your booths and,
nice.
or the trade show floor, meet people and find out what their story is and find out why they're doing what they're doing, so it's like a little mini interview. And if they interview you, if it's a humongous brand, they're not sure if they want you to represent them,
Sure.
And so I think we've done a good job of, it's making sure, like brands like that we love. I mean, you're wearing a brand called Descendant of Thieves from New York, a very small production house in Brooklyn. And, we got to meet them at a trade show and they felt like we made a really good partnership, just because, they're like, it was just really gritty and cool. And
I feel cool when I wear it.
Looks so cool.
It brings me up like 2 percentage points on my coolness factor.
Yeah, and so I feel like their story kind of we just opened. I remember it's maybe 6 months in, and we landed them, and then.
Well, let me ask you. I got to jump in. Do you feel like your store for your women and your men's clothes has like a general aesthetic that just is ultimately Lisa and Sean, or do you really try to work against that and be more objective and say, okay, well, let's move with the seasons, or let's make sure we don't get too into one lane of this is our look, like let's branch out, or we're getting bored with this? Does it evolve, or do you always come back to like Sean and Lisa's aesthetic?
I would say that. I would say just we try not to chase anything. Like we don't chase
trends,
a demographic. We don't chase a trend. I mean, if we are in love with a trend, we'll bring the product in, because I feel good when I show product to a guy like Joe, when he comes in, he can probably hear it in my voice when I'm talking about it.
That's true. That's actually really valid. Like if somebody's selling you something and they're just like, everything is, you look amazing. Half the time Sean's like that. You can't do that. Your shoulders are too narrow, bro.
Yeah.
Right. Not pulling that off.
Well, it's usually maybe a question of size.
Yeah.
Like if I show you the product, it's because you need the product, Joe. But maybe we just sold your size or something. It's like, so.
But you'll tell me if it's bad.
Like, absolutely. Or if maybe the leg, you have long legs, so maybe the length or something is off.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's just, I think you just have to stay grounded and understand what is, like, what catches your eye, like what interests me, what gets me excited in terms of product. Because if we start chasing, we need to hit this demographic, or hey, we need to get the kids, like we need to get the 18 to 20-year-olds or something like that. Like that might not be, that's not me, and
right.
I think if I'm showing product to someone like Joe, product I picked for a different demographic like that, and one that, and it supports a trend that I don't really support, I think you're going to be able to read right through it. And
you can't sell that.
You know what I mean? So I don't even want to sell you that. I want to sell you stuff that I believe in, and I want to give you an idea as to why we picked the product to begin with, and so sometimes, like us being on a sales floor, you'll get that a lot as like a little rejection, like, oh, you guys are just good salespeople.
Right.
Hey, listen, like we picked all this for
a reason,
and so for us, like, I feel so good when someone's like showing curiosity and I feel like they can tell by our sincerity that we're showing a product that we believe in and that we support ourselves.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So I love Masterclass. I've had this one episode bookmark, but I haven't gotten around to it, which is just all about like style and why it's important, why you should take it seriously and do to the extent that you can, not outsource it and try to do it yourself, go through that process, right?
Right.
I'm not there. My wife is, she's very opinionated as far as what I should wear, and that's fine. But like, what's your opinion in terms of like, you should own your own style, or it's okay if it's not your thing and you don't care that much, but maybe there's resources for you like your store, or, getting somebody to help you with that. I know there's a lot of businesses built around this idea of fill out this quick survey online and then tell us what stores you like, and then they try to AI it, right?
Right.
Talk about that in terms of like, how do you, if you're like a younger person, create your own style and develop that?
Yeah. I think you have to know, you have to know who you are, and maybe we don't ever know who we are, not to get super deep, but like, you have to know what interests you, and if there's, an element of your wardrobe or something that you want to, maybe update, or if you're trying to develop a new style, I don't know if this has
give us some examples. So you're saying what interests you. So if you're like, let's say you're into horses and you're drawn towards that kind of frontier cowboy thing.
Yeah.
Does that mean like maybe try working in some cowboy boots or whatever? I mean, like, what do you mean when you say find out what interests you?
Yeah. So I think I'm saying like, you don't want to, I mean, the whole idea of going through like a makeover or reinventing yourself, I think that's going to be hard to sustain. But if you know what you're comfortable in and mixing in something that could be like a new element, you know, so let's say you are the cowboy or something like that, right? Or like, and you're always in boots and you're always wearing your snip toes or whatever it may be, but you want to try something a little bit more cutting edge. I'd say, hey, don't lose the boots. The thing that makes you
is the boots.
Don't lose the boots. You know, but try just try another element, try another category.
Sorry, I gotta stop you. That's a country song. There, don't lose the boots. Come back.
Hey, hold on.
Someone's gonna steal that. You're gonna hear that on the radio.
Someone trademark that right now.
It's not. Yeah, we probably should. We should be someone with that. But
well, how did you come to your personal style? I mean, you got the boots, you got the cuffed.
Yeah, is that what you brought up?
Pant.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I think I was getting primed here subconsciously.
Yeah, he's a little dusty. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's intentional. You know that's intentional. Don't do it. Let's try the dust. Sure. That's to show you're humble.
I'll be scuffed. You're humble. Yeah, before I walk in.
Need to make this look authentic.
Totally look real. Yeah, you know what? Gosh, I think there's inspiration everywhere. You know, I mean, now more so than ever. You know, but
that's where I really come back to art, right? I mean, it really is. You're curating a style that you enjoy in your store. And I do think that people take for granted how much, you know, your money says to the world at large, and being more intentional about how you spend your money, what brands you're spending your money on.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's important. And you probably think about it more than most.
Yeah. We try to make people feel like they're in the right place. You know, and I hope people feel that way too. You know, and we don't try to convince anyone of that. We just want them to feel that way. And we want to be, you know, first shopped, last shopped, you know, and so it's like, and with that comes the level of attention, level of service, and all the little, the nuances of what we do, you know, and so we try to make sure that, you know, everybody gets a chance to get they are offered a beverage, you know, when we're in stock, whether it's cold beer or a sangria. We have a couple gals that make some really tasty drinks and stuff. So we'll offer that complimentary. You know, just to, you know, we want people to feel like they're on a vacation when they walk.
An experience.
Yeah, and you feel that though. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, and also no one has to be there. You know, also I think what I meant to touch on when you brought Susie up was the fact that, you know, sadly, like when you go to malls, you're kind of like on a time crunch. Like, okay, I
need this thing.
By Dillard's, I'm over here by Lulu. I gotta book it back.
Right.
You know, and when you're downtown in the Arts District and you're shopping us and you're going to what
it's more seaside.
You're going to Stray Pirate next door, and you feel like, hey, you know what? I get to do this.
You're more present. You're
more present.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a little reminder for everyone, like, hey, you are on a little vacation, even if you're on your lunch break, which I'm sure you popped in on your break a couple.
Yeah. And before you know it, I'm like, okay, it's nice.
Yeah, so it's like sometimes and I get that, you know, element too. But no, I mean, I think when people come in, we want to make sure, like, hey, they feel
slow down
there. You know,
I think slow down.
And and especially during the holidays. Oh, it's the best, because I do feel like, you know, when you get a chance to shop in the Arts District, it's like everybody wants to be there. And I'm not talking about the guests. I'm talking about like the people that work there, like want to be there. We're not sure that like it's going to be busy. You know, parking might be a bummer, but once you get parked, it's like you're going to want to stick around, like, because everyone's having a good time. We're all kind of feeling the spirit. You know,
we had one Christmas, Ash, where everything under 90% of what was under the tree had like their wolf on a bag, so nice. And the paper coming out of it. And
yeah, that has to be fun for you too, especially going back to like the meaning of the Good Wolf, of like everybody being there to buy things for other people too, right? To find something that's going to speak to the person and give a gift instead of themselves too. That's fun.
Yeah, it is super rewarding. And you know, like even like the sense of relief that we get, like starting soon in the next like probably week or so, that's very valuable to us, you know, because I feel like it's like, you know, we've been we've been in that like hustle and bustle, that like turn and burn market before, you know, when it's just like there's nothing fun about Christmas time in a mall. No.
Right.
And so when you get to come and
Stressful.
No, it's stressful.
So parking is stressful.
exact everything about it. So when you get to shop local, it's like, oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's going to be great product, and I think moreover, it's just like it's the actual experience is brought to you by people who want to be there. They're happy you're there, you know. So yeah, and did I miss a question?
No, I have so many. So
okay, got it.
Well, I wanted to have you on forever. Like, you were one of the first people I thought of, because Ash and I, we felt that pain of, does anybody know we're an awesome, amazing injury firm, right? Because it's just saturated with ads and billboards everywhere. And you feel that kind of like, we know how hard we work to make the employees be an extension of us. We know how hard we are, you know, to create that culture of, they come in, they get the drink, and it's experience, things slow down. But do you feel ever like, you know, the threat of just, we're not going to be able to make it and survive? Or has this Vegas taken you in and you feel like, no, like we can do this as long as we have energy? I mean, how hard is it to compete with the big box retailers and the online shopping? I mean, is it, you feel like it's something, I guess I'm surprised there's not more good Wolf lifestyle codes that since you came to town.
Right.
I'd love to see something like you have be in Henderson and Summerlin and then expand, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, that's something, we're working towards 1,000%. We also want to do it, you know, when it makes sense, and I'm not sure if it'll ever make sense. What I'm saying is, who knows when the right time is, you know? So that's something Lisa and I are like really knocking our heads together. Okay, where would it be? We've started conversations, but at the same time, it's like, you know, this was something that we started a couple of years ago too. And we realized the arts district just it needed our presence there, you know, because those four walls, I mean, as you all know, it's like there's nothing, I mean, a lot of good things happen when you guys are in the office and you guys are dealing with your clients, you know. And so I feel like when Lisa and I are getting a chance to help our guests, I think a lot of positive things happen too. Having said that, absolutely, you know, because a lot of our guests come from the corners of,
right,
you know, and so we'd love to get a little closer to them and be able to, and from a product perspective, like being able to offer different things and broadening our audience, I think that's a big dream of ours too. So,
right.
Yeah, that's something that we're definitely looking to, that's the next frontier for us, for sure.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just because I do think you're right. I think the arts district in Vegas in general needs that kind of small business culture where you can leisurely walk around, and it's easy for people to get lost in the shuffle of the breweries and kind of all the alcohol, right, that's downtown. So what does it take? I really want to know, like, if you were going to give 5 tips, 5 educational like clips to somebody who's like, okay, I want to be in this space. I want to be doing what you're doing. I want to join the community down there. How do you open one of these stores? What are you focused on?
I mean, to put it broadly, I mean, I think I mentioned about product, but you can't force anything too either, you know, because I think when you are considering a location, it's got to be a place that you're genuinely curious. It's about. It's going to be a place where you might live or you spend a lot of time. You know, so Lisa and I, we lived downtown for years before we opened the store, and just you know, trying to give our money to people in the neighborhood was hard, because we're like,
right,
where do we go? What do we do? And I grew up. When I was in college in Texas, I would walk. I would walk through an amazing men's store called Stag in South. It's on South Congress in Austin, Texas. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. You guys ever go to Austin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So if you go to South Congress, there's some really amazing boutiques. Stag Provisions for Men is my favorite.
Still there?
Still there. They had one in Venice. They opened a couple more in Texas. But I mean, they are focused on Austin, you know, and yeah, they just understood what it was to like just get people excited about product and like and become a thing to do after you ate home sliced pizza next door.
Your experience.
Yeah, it's a whole, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we lean into more of the intentional service. They're really good at service, but we are a little weirder in that sense. But I mean, I go in and I just get so excited. I mean, like you feel like you're just being hugged and smells so good, you know. And it's just men's product. They since opened up a gal shop up the street, but you know, like being able to walk through them, like or through that shop when I was like much younger, I was hungry for it when I moved to Vegas. I'm like, why don't we have something that's
you got a glimpse? You saw.
I saw what happened. Yeah, exactly. And so now you have just a lot of people that are leaving the bars or they're coming downtown for lunch or something.
Right.
And I think the experience is what keeps people in an area, you know. So you can eat, you can drink, but if you have your 2 favorite spots, like you're done. You're going home after that. But if there are a few things to do, shopping, art galleries, etc.
I just finished a book called The Experiential Billionaire, and I think what you're touching on is what the book touches on is these new generations are smarter because forever in the 80s it was Wall Street and greed is good, and the 90s and it was just make money and then retire on a yacht, right? And everybody now knows that's a lie. Like that's not, you got to have meaning, purpose, all that stuff. So I love that you're 6 years into this, you're still successful, you know, you're looking at opportunities to expand at some point. But I do think that speaks to just people wanting the experience more than just the transactional online, and there's nothing there, right? Click a button and it's empty and it's hollow, and I don't get to come in and catch up with you and find out about your kids and have that sense of community. So I really love what you're doing.
It's maybe the difference between I need and going into your store and not necessarily needing or wanting anything, right? Just what can this store offer me?
Which is dangerous. So sometimes we can't go. Susie's like, Joe, we can't go. We don't have $1,000 to drop right now.
Well, you know, it's so funny. And I'll tell our guests too, like, hey, no one needs anything in this store, you know, and it's true. You don't need any of it, but we love to be able to help curate it. And if it's a you know, we want it to be a memorable thing for you guys to do, you know, whether it's after happy hour or on the weekend. And so I'm going to answer your question the best I can, Ash. And that is, okay, so I said one would be like, you know, don't chase a market, right? So if it's not you, it's not you. Like think about like what really, like, are you going to be excited to wake up every single morning, go to work in said place and be curious about said people in that, in those zip codes, you know, and of course try to attract other zip codes, but in that neighborhood, do you care? You know? And I feel like that checked, like that was the biggest reason we went to downtown, or while we opened in on Commerce Street, was because those were our friends. Like that was our home. And we knew if we did it right, we'd see more shops open, those things. And that goes to product too. Like, you know, don't think you're going to be able to captivate the attention of someone who you don't genuinely care about. So if, you know, like the same reason I don't try to catch the attention. I love when they come in the store. I'm curious about them, but I understand if we're not their spot, which is, you know,
can't force it.
The thrift shopper, because there's so much in the area, so many people in our zip code who do it so well, you know, buy, sell, trade and everything. And so we just know we can't do it like them. We can't. We won't even try.
That's not your niche,
you know. And then, you know, I think if you're gonna open a store, I think you have to focus on the right things. You know, there has to be something else that you really want out of it, outside of just moving goods, because I think that you can get tired of that pretty quick. You know, but for us, like I'm starved for the person who's like just never been, you know, treated that way, you know, anywhere. You know, like maybe they haven't been to the Ritz, or maybe they haven't been to a 5-star hotel before, but they get to come to the Good Wolf and they feel like a rock star. You know, that's always kind of what, at the end of the day, like that's the one thing you can hold. You can't control business as much as you'd like to think you
I'm
can.
just starved for that feeling. I don't get it enough in my life.
I can tell.
That rock star.
That's why I'm telling you to fly first class.
But it's just like we just know we can control that. If nothing else, it's like if it is one person that comes through our door on a Tuesday in the middle of July, we can control that person's feeling, you know? And then that was 3 things.
Yeah, no, that's actually good.
I like that. That's
point.
good.
Yeah. What are your fashion faux pas? What are your Sean's or Sean and Lisa's like, okay, well, on this end of the spectrum, there's no rules, and right,
Yeah.
and then on this end of the spectrum, it's like, you know what, like my 22-year-old still thinks that he can rock socks with like,
Well, I think that's my only full point.
sandals.
It's just don't come in, like, don't say that. We hear it a lot sometimes with like guests that shop us for the first time. We hear, I'm too old for this, or I can't wear this.
I say it all the time. I say that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
Because I don't want to look like that guy that I see where they get out of maybe the car and
I think you need to be a little less judgmental.
Yes, but I mean there are people where it's like they're just dressing to look younger. They're just dressing to look like their kids' friends, and it's a bad look. Like there's nobody looks at that and goes, we make fun of it, we watch it on reality TV, but it's a terrible look. So that's what I'm trying to make sure I don't slip into is like, I am 47. I do believe that there are age-appropriate ways to dress, and that as the decades move on, you should move a little bit with them, right? And not necessarily wear the cut-off, sleeveless, tank top when you're right. So I don't know.
Right.
You disagree?
I think I think just be a real guy, like be a real guy or gal. And I think if you, what was the example you use, socks, like a fun pair of
with Tevas and like my oldest son, we love him, but his whole fashion and he takes a lot of pride is like, I don't care what I look like, dress like, and it's like, well, yeah, but the girls might, and the girl, like it is going to send messages, and it does
might be the wrong girl that he attracts though if they're not into his like cat t-shirts.
That's what I'm saying. You can make arguments.
Because I love
both.
his cat t-shirts.
His lion t-shirts.
I do.
So that's it. You can make a case for both, but Jordan Peterson's whole thing is like, no, men should dress up. Like they should look a certain way because it sends a message to the world about what you think about yourself, just like making your bed does or having a clean car. So where do you land on that spectrum?
Yeah, I think there's a line between, authenticity, and trying something new, and taking a little bit of a risk. And I think you can do both, And so I think to your point, it's like, yes, if you tried rocking the Crocs in the socks or the tuba to see the Tevas in the socks, you wouldn't believe it.
No,
you wouldn't believe yourself when you put that on. So I would say, your audience, as you walk through where Trader Joe's, they might not believe it either. But I think so for the guy who is 47 and is pulling it off, there's a reason other people believe it. Is because that's just who he is. But if that's not who you are, you know it when you put it on, like, so if you have to ask, like, hey, should I wear this? The answer is probably no.
But you're good because I'll put it on and then you can, you can kind of work with the personality and go like, well, why not? And ask some questions and be like, was it just because you've never worn something like this before?
Yes.
Right. And it's just a fear of like something not your colors, because you always I look at my closet and I'm like, oh, I got a lot of blue, and a lot of gray.
Right. Oh, I look like the same. Yeah.
I'm going to push back on this whole conversation a little bit, Joe, and say that, for me, fashion is not being worried about what other people think of it. And I've had to wrestle with this a lot. And I understand what you're saying, right? I'm a lawyer, and so I'm supposed to look like a lawyer. But even today, we're taking photos and doing video. Like, I couldn't put a suit jacket on because it's for our website, and I'm not the lawyer in a suit jacket, right? I'm a softer touch. It's not who I present myself as. So I think if you're thinking about fashion in terms of what you want to say to the world, and that's really what you're coming back to is, your son's saying something to the world, but maybe he likes what he's saying to the world. And what he's saying to the world is that he's fun.
Yeah. Well,
and he is fun.
Right.
So how would you guys define what cool is?
Okay, I'm going to immediately have Ash go first because she's cooler than me. If you saw her office and her house.
Cool to me just means authentic, right? When somebody can own whatever they're doing. And like you said, right? Like you see that person walking through and no, Joe couldn't pull it off or I couldn't we had a guest yesterday, Leslie. I love her so much. Leslie Smith. And she came in this beautiful black dress and she had that knee-high boots on. I hate dresses. I put them on and I feel like an imposter. So I'm going to look uncomfortable in a dress and I'm going to be insecure and I'm not going to be presenting my best self. So to me, cool means authenticity.
Okay. And so let me get in on this. Cool to me means not having the label of the generic brand plastered across your chest, right? And just advertising and letting everybody know you're wearing Prada, you're wearing Gucci. Like that to me is not cool. What's cool to me is when you showed me this piece and you pointed out just like little details, right? Like my understanding of men's clothing is that it's in like the small details and that overall it doesn't change a whole lot. Like women's fashion changes. Men's, it's like a little thing on the suit coat. Here it's, there's a little more structure to it. And there's, you've got this yellow inside. So, and then you pointing that out to me, and then I kind of feel like, oh, that's cool, but not in a look at me, I spent a bunch of money on this kind of way, more just like a subtle, more,
right.
Steve McQueen cool.
Yeah. Like you're that way when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. Right. I agree. So just being who you are. Yeah. And I feel like.
Who had the cooler response?
Yeah, I'd say it's I mean, I think both you guys are pretty cool.
You could say it's me. You know it's me.
Because I believe both of you when you were telling me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why. And
how do you define cool?
Yeah.
You know what I'd say. I think I'd probably pick apart both of your responses, but I think overall it's just being able to, be yourself. And
but what does that doesn't mean anything? Be yourself.
Yeah, but and not worry about what anyone says or thinks about you.
Okay.
And to me, when I see people that are just genuinely themselves and like they don't have to worry about, or they choose, like not to worry about other people's, opinions. I think that's, to me, that's cool.
Is it a fake it till you make it? Because I'll put on things sometimes. Like I had another thing I bought, and you kind of pushed me to buy this shirt, and it was knit and heavy, and I put it on today.
And it was more expensive.
What's that? Yeah.
You
want the seafood tower, trust me. $250. It's the best thing on the menu. No, but I put it on, looked in the mirror and was like, nope, that's not happening. Like wasn't feeling it. And it's like, is it just there is a point where you got to fake it till you make it?
Oh, I would love to see you in this. I can imagine it now. And I'm like, that probably looks really good.
Sometimes just me when I walk into the office.
Somebody's going to tell you.
Yeah, maybe so. Like I think there's
you have to, right? I mean, otherwise you're going to wear the same thing the rest of your life. So there has to be like you're kind of pushing it a little bit.
Just pushing the needle a little bit, and I think that's exciting, especially because, fashion, I don't want to say it changes, but it's always revisiting.
Yes.
From the past.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So it's just a revisitation of something that we probably saw 25 years ago. And I think that's where we are right now, and, maybe a little bit prior to that too. But yeah, so it's just revisiting something and just implementing something that you can pair with something that you really love, and that's an element of Joe or Ash.
Yeah.
I think this is actually helping, even though it's easy to maybe hear you say, you got to be yourself, you got to be authentic. Like as we're talking, I am kind of realizing that I do play it safer than I probably should. It should be more fun and not so serious. Like who cares if somebody said, oh, like you're wearing that bright color, or you don't. Like, I think that's probably something I could work on. I mean, do you see that when people come in a lot where they're just overly concerned about everybody else's opinions and not if it's kind of just fun and looks good on them? I don't know. Right.
We see that all the time. And I think with guys, and I think that's why I get so excited doing what we do, is because, I think, gals come in and shop, and, they're more, I think our gals that pop in, how would I put our gals? They love the experience, and they know exactly what works, and we get to also introduce things and kind of do what we do with guys to a certain extent. But I think with most guys that come see us, especially because a lot of those guys are around my age, maybe a little bit younger, to about 50, 55, 60. And a lot of those guys, they don't know who to trust when it comes to shopping for themselves, or, in the world of fashion. Right. So it's like, I love it when we get a chance to exceed their expectations or surprise them by having them try something that they ordinarily wouldn't have tried.
Yeah.
But it comes with trust. It comes with being able to trust us, because we're not going to try and just throw something on them. But we do want to be a place that they revisit or at least reconsider, because, oh man, it might be the product, but it's more about like, hey, I trust the people that they have working there, because they're not just trying to sell stuff. Like they're trying to like they're introducing things that make sense, and it might not be for the body. It could be for the house. So that's really exciting. Like men's fashion is pretty tough to tackle. That's why you don't see a whole lot of men's shops. You don't see a whole lot of.
You don't.
That's interesting.
You don't. Every time we'll go to a conference, like I'll try to find a good wolf.
Yeah.
And like Scottsdale has a couple, but it's hard to find. And that's why, I guess.
Yeah, Scottsdale. You got to go to Rooster Bus. That's my buddy Mark.
I've been there.
You've been to Rooster?
That's great.
Mark?
No, well, I don't remember necessarily, but it was a great store. I remember
Good
it.
man. Yeah, he's got a couple shops, and he's awesome.
It had a good vibe.
Yeah.
So somebody hasn't heard of you. They listen to this podcast. They watch it. What's your elevator pitch as far as like, hey, come give us a shot, give us a try for, guys, gals, everyone.
Right. Yeah. So I think,
Why is it worth driving the 25 minutes down there?
yeah, I think we're going to really make sure we surprise you, and so we'll always get you curious about maybe if we're talking about wardrobe, maybe we're going to introduce some things that you probably wouldn't have thought of yourself. And so we're going to give you a chance to experience that product. And if it's for the house, it's going to be the same deal. Like, we want you to feel like you're walking into a place that has a lot of thought, a lot of character. And it'll just get you excited about shopping, local boutiques.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for coming on. It's been so much fun. We're going to come down there and drop some coin.
Oh, please do.
Or
at least come down. Just like to come down.
You're going to look at your statement and be like, that was a nice Wednesday. Ash and I are going to go do some damage. But no, we're excited. We want to bring our firm down there and just kind of do a little fun thing where everybody gets to pick out one item under $100. Let's not go crazy. But I want them to have that experience and just get a taste of like, okay, this does exist in Las Vegas. It opened my mind, and it's something to where each Christmas it's nice to just go down there and get a bunch of stuff and feel like, oh, you know what? Get the candles, get the clothes, catch up with you guys. And thank you for building the community. Ash and I are actively trying to build the community.
Yeah,
thank you for doing the grassroots, the stuff that doesn't necessarily, make the biggest dent when it comes to the bank account, but it's impactful, it's meaningful, it's filled with purpose. Hopefully we can have you back on with Lisa at some point.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And
she would not love that.
Push her out of her comfort zone.
Exactly.
push her out of her comfort zone a little bit, just like you pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time. Ash does have a final question for you, even though you kind of answered it.
You did. We're attorneys on accident because we feel like we've come to this time of our lives by accident. Do you feel like you've gotten to where you are by accident?
Yes and no. So yeah, the yes part is, as a kid, I mean, you just have like your mind's everywhere, but I do get to do something that I've always wanted to do. And that I guess also kind of happened on accident, but it was always something that when I'm at my best, I feel like we entertain,
You said movies, and so you want the entertainment.
The performance.
Right. And so whenever we talk about, if we hire someone new or if we're going into a busy season and we need to regroup, we talk about how important it is for us to feel like we're walking on stage. So like our floor is a stage because everyone sees everything, everyone hears everything, and it's all part of the production, So
that's a great way to say it.
It's like Disney World, they're not called whatever they would be called. They're called castmates.
Oh,
right. Everybody who works there.
Yeah.
They're part of the cast. And so when I read the story about the theme park, I was like, that's brilliant, because it's just about it. You're no longer who you were as you drove up to work.
Right.
You are somebody else.
You enter that space and it feels just a different world. It's like a different world.
It's a different world. Yeah. So we try to live that.
Okay. Well,
it's harder to do it when you work with your wife every single day. That's a little bit tougher to do, but we do our best.
That's our therapy podcast. We'll have you both on
next week.
No, great having you on. That was a lot of fun, cool conversation, and hopefully our listeners are cooler for having spent some time with you. So
that was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean. And where can they find you? Website?
Yeah, it's thegoodwolflv.com and at thegoodwolflv on Instagram. That's it. And then in person first and foremost. Obviously.
Yeah, get down there and go say hi to Sean and Lisa. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.